All right, Shalom. Kahalayim La Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. Double honors unto the elders and the apostles at GMS Great Millstone, and a sincere peace, love, blessings, salutations unto all those of you hopeful, faithful, potential members of the elect out there doing the best to make the calling of your election sure, man. Are able to receive these things that are needful for salvation, including the name of the Lord, man. Right, which the scriptures say what? That whosoever call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. Back Acts 4:12 says there is no other name given among man whereby you must be saved under heaven, man. There's only one name that we have been given, which is the name of Yahweh, that we reach through the name of Yahweh Shai, Messiah, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus, man. You see? The name Yahweh Shai allows us to be connected back unto the Heavenly Father, man. Alright? With that said, we'll go ahead and get into it, man. You see the title of the lesson, and what I have, pulled back here is, a video going in on the four empires, the same pattern that they went through, and what brought their downfall, which the downfall for every single one of them is brought by an economic collapse. Now, the thing that's interesting about this, right, is this is what we've known, man. This is prophecy, right? This is what the scriptures say, right? But then you see people co-signing to what the scriptures say. Little do they know, but what he's doing is he's using history to prove it, man. Like the scriptures say, there's no new thing under the sun. In other words, history repeats itself, right? So what you're seeing is a repeat. But unlike the other nations who had fallen due to an economic collapse, this nation is right where it wants to be, man. Right where the elites want it to be. Because what it's going to do is usher in order through the chaos of an economic collapse. That's why on your dollar bill it says Ordvo Advoceo, man. Right? Meaning order out of chaos. That's what this devil's getting ready to establish here on this earth. Right? He's going to cause disorder, chaos, and he's going to come re-establish that order through a new age, man. A new idea that's going to give us a next step into economic or financial stability, man. All right, which is also prophesied within the scriptures. But before I go any further, let me go ahead and jump to what I was paraphrasing earlier, which is the book of Ecclesiastes. I believe it's chapter 1 or 2. God, this is chapter 1 and verse 9. It says, "The thing that hath been is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. Is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? It hath been already of old time, which is before us," right? So in other words, hey, again, history repeats itself, man. Right? So that's why you always hear the elders talking about you have to know the history in order to know the mystery, man. So the history allows us to unlock the understanding of, particular things, man. The understanding of prophecy, the understanding of the times we're in. And again, that's being done, right? The video that I was referencing, which I'll put the link in the description of this video, man. But again, this devil's gonna usher in order out of this chaos to establish a NWO, man, a new world order, and a new financial system, because this financial system we're in is getting ready to collapse. And that video goes in on how, right, each of these nations borrow more money than they have, than they're printing, right? Then they print more money, right? And what it does is it creates inflation, and eventually, bankruptcy is the only outcome, the only option that a nation will be left with, man. This is how all these major nations had fallen before us, and this is exactly how America's going to seem as it's falling, but it's going to reestablish that order through the Charagma, man. Through in fact, before I grab this, let me go ahead and jump back to the book of Ecclesiastes. I want to say chapter 11. Ecclesiastes chapter 12, Salakia. And verse 3, it says, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease. What it's talking about is all hell breaking loose, man. And the grinders being what? The work cease, because they are few, and those that look out of their windows be darkened. And the doors of the streets the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of grinding is low. And he shall rise up at the voice of a bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low, right? So, work is going to become scarce out here, man. The economy is going to become, is going to fall, right? It tells you in that video how they weren't able to pay their subjects any longer, man. They began to pay them in currencies that, were falling. And therefore they were worthless to the worker. You ain't going to work for free. You see, so eventually it causes the whole system to collapse, man. And that's why this devil's going to come ushered in from left field. And they tell you that in that video too, that, there may be another option than bankruptcy, which is this option right here. This is exactly what this devil's getting ready to do, to make it seem as though he's doing something to help, man. This is Revelation chapter 13 and verse 16. I'll run it back to verse 15. It says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, right? So to bring this beast into a full fruition of life, right? The beast that was wounded and yet lived, being that Roman Empire, right? It was wounded during the Roman Empire, which, is part of what they go in this video. You see, they have Rome, right? 476 AD. That Roman Empire was wounded, it was brought down, but yet it lived, man, and it came back into power, right, as this current nation, which is why the book of the Bible is a very political book and goes into the rulers of this age, man, the rulers of that age, and how they would be brought down, man. In fact, we can go into the book of Daniel, which goes into all the ions to bear rule on this earth, man, right? And they speak about the Grecians, but what was to come after them was the Romans, and here these modern day Romans, these modern Babylonians, if you will, right? So prophecy still had to be fulfilled in order for us to reach this latter kingdom, man. Which is why it says what, that that his wound was healed, right? But going back into verse 15, it says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And it's not talking about no actual image, right? This is not ancient Babylon where they're going to worship an image, man. This is the digital age that we're entering, man, right? They're going to worship in another way. And as we go on, it's going to break it down. Verse 16, it says, and he shall cause all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. Now, this word mark goes into the Greek word charagma, right, which means an etching into your skin, right? So they're going to carve this thing into your skin, man. RFID microchip, which will allow you to buy and sell, which is going to expound upon in the 17th verse. It says, and that no man might buy or sell save he that have the mark. So without the mark, you won't be able to buy or sell. You won't be able to participate in the society any longer, man. You see? So really, Esau's pushing you into a corner and making you choose the Most High or him. Who is your God, man? Esau or the one true living power? It says, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man shall buy or sell save he that have the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. And here is wisdom. Let him that understandeth count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. For his number is 600, 6, right? So it's not an actual beast. It's not the spiritual demon Satan, but it's his physical counterpart, right? Esau, Edom, the base of man. They're the ones that are in power. They're the ones that are pushing forth these laws and decrees. They're the ones that are trying to mark all their subject with the charagma, man. You see? And what this will do is usher in that new age and promote financial stability, man. Especially during the time of an economic collapse, this is going to sound like the best thing ever. But be warned, man. The scriptures tell us not to be deceived by this devil, not to be led into his tricks. You see? So anyway, Lord willing, is edifying, man. I believe the point's been made. I just wanted to say a few words on this lesson, or on this video. Like I said, I'll share it in the chat, Lord willing. And until next time, this is Brother Gar. Yabashim Yao Shai. Call Layim Lai Habashim Yao Shai. Hey, double honors of the elders and the apostles at GMS Great Millstone. And a sincere peace, love, blessings, salutations unto all those of you hopeful, faithful, potential members of the elect. Lord willing, is edifying. Until next time, Shalom.